we got something new for all the trout fishermen. It's been new for me. It's been new for you too. It's been kind of exciting.
It's
a product
cool
that we
process.
actually use. Yeah, it's been a really cool process.
It's the D2 Jig, isn't
It is, yeah, the D2 Jig. And how all that came about, it's been a pretty long process now since this all started. And I remember a conversation you and I had in the office one
it?
day.
2019.
Yeah, 3 years ago. And we were talking about it. Yeah, like, listen, if this is supposed to happen, God will open the doors. And they kind of were opened, pretty wide open. Now, since then, the brakes have been put on for some reason.
Yeah.
On building these and making them. But the process and what we were going to do was pretty clear from the very beginning. Once we got that phone call one day,
He just wanted to buy a fishing line, didn't he?
he did. JD wanted to buy a fishing line, and it's just amazing how God works, because I had talked to JD 20 years ago, and I remember it very clearly, and he did as well, but we never saw each other again until that phone call that day, just a few weeks after you and I had the conversation when I said, if this is supposed to happen, God will open a door.
Absolutely.
And he called us, it is really amazing.
Well, I'm JD Dudley, and the company is D2 Jigs. What else do you want to know?
Thank you so much to Kyle and the guys over there at the Ozark Podcast for letting us use this clip. It does a great job at telling the story.
Started this company in January of 19, but the jig's been around for a long time. Jim Hall, the owner of PJ's Jigs, he invited me and my dad to the Norfolk River in '83. Dad and I had been trout fishing some below Beaver Dam and up at Rowan River and throwing marshmallows and corn and salmon eggs and stuff. We were catching 5 and 6 fish every time we go. We were enjoying it, but Jim called Dad and said, hey, why don't you come check out my spot? Dad and I went with him over to Norfolk in the summer of '83, and it was unlike anything we'd ever experienced. It was 150 fish day, and the quality of these fish were exponentially better than what they were below Beaver up at Rowan River. I think Jim caught like a 4.5 pound cutthroat that day, and we were just locked in. Dad started ordering these Marabout jigs from the lady that Jim was ordering from, and she had a mold that she had bought at a hardware store, and the mold was a defective mold. It was a walleye jig mold, and the mold itself was lopsided, and what it creates is a spiral on this jig. When the jig falls, it spirals down in the water. Because one of the sides is kind of tapered, it's a little bit flat, not completely, but the other side's more rounded, and so when it falls, I mean, the current of the water just takes it and causes it to spiral down. You match it up with Marabout, and it's really good action. So Dad started ordering from her, and man, we started going a lot. As we got into the late '80s, I mean, Dad started guiding over there some, and as he was ordering from her, he also built a really good relationship with her. I mean, just a sweet elderly lady that was helping him out, and she developed arthritis. And when she developed arthritis, she called Dad one day and just said, hey, she said, would you be interested in taking this mold? And Dad said, of course. I mean, very gracious of her to give it to him. She gave the mold to Dad. Dad took it and he started tying, and he was tying for us and for a couple of friends. He started tying some for Jim, and as he was tying, I mean, more and more people started using them and wanting them, and so he started kind of mass producing them. When I say mass, I mean I'm not talking like manufactured, but I guess I was 21 when I really started helping him. 21, 22, somewhere around there, and making something and taking it out and catching fish was pretty neat. The more we did it, the more it grew. Steve Wright, who was an author of the book called Ozark Trout Tales, caught wind of what Dad was doing, and I just called him up and asked him if Dad could take him over to the river and teach him how to use the jigs, and I just write an article about him. And I don't know that Steve had ever trout fished before. Maybe he had, I don't know, but my gosh, I mean, it just wore him out. Dad's article was on basically not introducing jig fishing to the White River, but kind of taking it to the next level as far as availability goes. Dad continued tying the jigs until the mid-2000s, and he developed an allergy to the feathers, so he couldn't tie anymore. And when he did that, he sat it down. I could have picked it up right there and continued it, but with 2 little kids and life, that prevented me from it. The summer of 2018 was planning on taking Drew, my son, to go fishing, and I remembered the mold, and I called Dad and I said, "Hey," I said, "You still have that mold?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Man, would you care if I took that mold or brought it up here to the house and used it to tie some jigs for me and Dee?" And he said, "Well, let me think about it." And the following week, he showed up here and dropped everything off. The mold, probably 10,000 hooks, 1,000 packages of feathers, and some old paint. He said, "Man, here you go." He said, "It's yours." Honestly, I was honored to have it here because I knew the history behind it, and I just sat down and started tying. Dad had some friends that would call me and say, "Hey, I heard that you're tying. Can you make me some?" And so Julie, my wife, we started praying through it and just seeing, where God might lead us. The website launched in July of 2019 and sat pretty dormant from July and August. I think I got 2 or 3 orders. In September, something happened. Word got out. I don't know if it was a picture that I posted on Facebook or what, but word got out and went from $20 in sales in August to over $700 in September, and then it just continued to grow after that.
That's pretty sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a neat story, and it goes back to the 70s. That's the crazy thing about it. This has been a journey to get to where we are now.
It really has been. And man, just think about all those memories.
We do have some good ones. The bottom line is it's about creating the bond with people.
Absolutely.
As you're fishing. What helps in that bond? Catching fish. Really, really neat in the past 3 years, actually the last 2 years, how many times the D2 Jig has created memories, big fish, lots of fish, whatever it might be, on water that we wouldn't have fished before when we just were fishing Trout Magnet.
He's probably about to crack.
There we go.
I don't know about that net job.
Awesome fish.
Yeah, we did.
Man,
that was a good trip.
That was a lot of fun.
The owner of B&M, Jack Wells, was in, and Kent Driscoll and Kirby Ham, and we really hadn't fished the D2 that much at that time.
No, we didn't even know what we were doing.
Yeah, it was pretty new, and we caught so many browns that weekend. But one really big one, just had a really good time.
I loved being in the boat with you guys last year. Was that last year? Yeah, last year. You and Lane? No.
Yes.
I think it's on the website.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's on the front page of the web page. I can still see that joker coming across that D2 Jig and just swallowing it real slow. It's kind of weird. But yeah, that
Fish
was
is famous.
Yeah, that fish was really colored up. And yeah, we've had some good memories from the D2 already. And I guarantee.
And a good paycheck.
Well, yeah, that's right. You won a tournament on that deal.
Yeah,
That's right.
Now, that was a crazy thing. I mean, literally, the last 8 minutes of the tournament, it's opened up a lot of doors.
It's opened up a lot of doors, no doubt about it.
And I'm excited to hear stories going forward as it becomes more available to people.
They're in production, and I can guarantee when they come out, they're going to be well done where they won't pull apart, and they'll catch lots of fish on them.
Lord willing, October 1st. Isn't that
October
what we're
1st,
shooting
yep.
for? October 1st on the Trout Magnet website, or right now at d2jigs.com.
Yeah, go help JD out. He's got a great product. He's got several colors there now. You can get directly from him.
Absolutely.
Oh, Lane. That's a wild fish right there, buddy.
Did you say your arm hurts?
Yeah,
I wouldn't tell anybody that story.
my wrist.
What do you say when you catch fish like that?
Swallow them up.
Slip them all, baby.